Hey guys, it's Steve. Welcome to March 27th, 2014, Steve's special Friday video. Today, the core subject is self-love. So where do we start here? It's been a really busy, kind of interesting, crazy, way up and down, a lot of down, a lot of emotions, at least for me, a lot of other people as well, the last week and a half. Where, as I mentioned in one of the other videos, we've been under a lot of pressure around emotions and feelings and stuff coming up around core issues in our lives. And that concentrated period, I believe, is actually part of a larger period that's going on at least for another couple of weeks through to the 13th and 15th of April, middle of April. And I'm going to be doing a magnetic heart activation on the 12th of April, which is one day before the most critical most potential kind of crisis type of a day, according to Jyotish astrology. And we're going to be doing a really cool heart activation, and I'm going to be adding in one additional kind of really cool element to that activation, which I'll talk about next few days. I'll make a little quick little video about that. But self-love. So where do we start? For me, one of the things that I'm having to relearn, I kind of got it, like I spent most of my life in my head. I spent most of my life with all sorts of walls around me, especially around my heart, walls around the emotions. Nobody could get through. I could be helpful. I could act in ways that were compassionate, but never feel a lot of compassion, actually, in the way I'm beginning to now, because of I've been taken through a process of opening up a little bit more, a lot more, a lot more. And one of the things that I'm having to relearn is the idea and the practice from a feeling place, not just from an intellectual place, of that I can accept all of the feelings. I'm beginning to allow myself to have feelings, good feelings and bad feelings, more anger, irritation, grief, a bit more joy, love, all that kind of stuff. It's a roller coaster ride when you haven't been used to it, when you've been keeping everything flat. And then moving into living a way where there's more depth on an emotional level and an experience of the emotions. And I knew in my head that we can control our feelings if we can change our thoughts. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody can talk that talk. And I was really good at it. And I was good at helping people, give them tools through sessions and with the belief work, like to help them let go of believing things were horrible and that was the only possibility, and opening their thought processes up, finding what the deeper reasons were on the belief level, on the unconscious level, and helping them let go of those beliefs they didn't even know were there, and therefore create a new way of thinking, and therefore create a new way of experiencing their feelings, creating a new way of experiencing the world. I got that for a long time. And lately, literally, especially the last 2 or 3 days, actually, I've had to relearn through my own experience of perceiving things in a certain way that meant I'm fucked, that I'm a victim of circumstance, that I'm a victim of my dharma, I'm a victim of what I sometimes take in as true, that what my path is supposed to be, what my purpose in the life is supposed to be. And that also means I have to give up certain things that I've discovered mean more to me than I realized they did before. And I began to believe that. And people would say stuff, and I would become very emotional and angry and sad and stuff like that. And then I was reminded, gratefully, that a part of my path, which I can take in and accept, also is that even though I'm moving into a way of being that's much more feeling-based, that's emotional-based, I also need to remember and balance with that I'm not a victim of the emotions. The emotions live me. The feelings live through me. My purpose lives through me. Whatever it is I'm supposed to do on this earth lives through me, and that my mind, for example, in a good way, is a servant of this higher stuff. But it also can coexist that I can choose, which I don't always remember to do, and I need help sometimes. I need somebody else to snap out of it, Stevie boy. No. Okay. Yes, these feelings are okay. Yes, it's understandable and natural for you that when you hear this information or when you experience this thing or when you perceive that you've lost something or you've been attacked or you've made a massive mistake, that the emotions for you and your personality, that the sadness will come out or the anger will come out, and it's okay. But I need to remember, and I need to remind myself, and I need to relearn this in this new state of being that I find myself in, that I can also choose, using different techniques, sometimes it's a simple choice, choose to focus on something else, or choose to think about what this thing is that's bothering me from a different perspective. That I don't have only one way of looking at it. And sometimes when I get all upset and I feel angry or sad or whatever, I try and make this reality that I'm perceiving as the problem as the only possibility. And I know better. Up here I know better. But now with this different way of being I've started to step into, I forget. I forget that I can I forget that, number one, just remembering that I have the possibility of changing what I think, changing the way I think, and changing from what perspective I see things at or think about things, I can change something like that. Boom. I can shift my feeling state from one of victim to one of, well, I still don't like this, but you know what? There's another way of looking at this. And there's more levels of what's really going on than what my brain that's decided is the only thing that's going on. So sometimes I need to be reminded that it's a simple choice. And at the same time, I also have all of these tools. I have meditation. I have the theta healing technique and modality, of which the core is the digging and the belief work. I have and there's I made a YouTube about the connection between beliefs and emotions. And I'll put a link to that with this. I have my friend Michi's Eternal Pi formula that I can look at and see what all the associations and meanings are that I'm not thinking about consciously but are part of my makeup. I can write. This is fucking bother me because this person and that person, and that means I've lost my freedom and I can write it all out and get it out of my head. And I can talk to somebody else. In all of these ways, which I find help me open up seeing other possibilities and being able to choose something different than what my one reality is I thought it was. And I can choose something different that doesn't have to exclude the positive aspects of whatever this thing that bothered me are. And this is not the only path that I can go down to. It's kind of a weird combination of free will and self-love and acceptance of the world as it is, and acceptance of what my personality is, working within those things, and choosing somehow, with some combination of all the tools that I have at my disposal, including making a simple decision to look at something different. And for me, it's hard because it's really addictive and seductive. It's so seductive when I get into my I don't want to be good. It's horrible. You know what's I don't want to be like that. It's really seductive for me. And it's something I've noticed, and I have to re-notice, and I have to relearn, and I have to remind myself, and I have to keep in mind whatever way I need to. Maybe I need to stick fucking post-it notes all over my computer or the place that I'm staying to remind myself that I can choose something different. I can choose to think differently about it. Okay? So, I'm not doing too bad. Only 11 minutes. Good boy, Steve. Self-love. Okay. So, let me just check my little notes here for a second. Blah, 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 blah. Choose to be happy. Blah, blah, blah. So anyways, what are the ways that you traditionally and as a habit choose to not practice self-love and choose to not allow yourself to live in a sense of peace? What's one of the motivations? One of the motivations to understand and see what your pattern are, what your behaviors are, what your habits are of sabotaging and not living in a self-love thing. One is, number one, to feel better, but also number two, everybody in the woo-woo world, the spiritual world, or just good people want the world to be better. And as one of my kind of mentors, Yogi Raj Gurunath, he's a Kriya Yoga master from the Himalayas. He's a really cool guy, very interesting. His fundamental principle is world peace through self-peace. So as we find the way to live in self-love, not the kind of self-gratification at the expense of everybody else. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is doing and being and living your life in a way that you can be self-loving. And as you do more of that, and more of us do that, we're getting more and more into a sense of inner peace. We're having less anger at ourselves, at the world, and we're being the change we want to see in the world. If you have kids, you want your kids to practice a really beautiful, healthy, correct, whatever that means for you and for them, self-love. You want them to love themselves. And pointing the fingers, you should love yourself. You should blah, 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 blah. While you're screwing yourself over isn't very helpful. The best thing you can do to teach your children, teach the loved ones you have to love themselves, is just simply be what it is you want for them. So what are the ways that you sabotage your own self-love? How is it that you, through your personality, create whatever the opposite of that is for you? What's your style of not living in self-love? I talked a little bit about some of what my style is. So let's do a little belief work here. Let's do a little energy work, a little healing, little something. Let me just connect. Here we go. We're going to ask that anybody watching the video here be given, in whatever way they'll accept and allow, without judging themselves, and leading them to forgive themselves when they figure out what the different ways they are that they don't self-love, because we will judge ourselves. We will beat the shit out of ourselves when we realize our mistakes. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt to prove it. So let's download into you or give you or whatever. How do I say this? We're just asking your permission to have God or the energies or the universe or whatever to give you the possibility and the ability to see the different ways you've done that, maybe in ways you haven't realized before, or maybe in ways that you've seen but pushed aside or discounted as not important. So that with the intention of changing something in yourself and in your life, where you can begin little bit by little bit, not all at once, begin to live in a way that is a way of self-love, so that you can be the change that you want to see in the world. You can be the change that you want to give to your children, or give to your parents, or give to the people around you, by being it, not by trying to give it, but by having it, being it, and living it, so that they can watch you and say, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I can do that too. I want some of that stuff, what they have. And they get to see you make choices in lots of different ways, use the techniques that you have at your disposal to help you do that. Make a conscious choice to live in self-love. Meditate or what? Use the theta healing. Use the join my magnetic heart activations and get things started. Get the process of that starts in you to cleaning out your stuff as the first step of the magnetic heart activation, so you can become more of who you really are in a really balanced way that feels good, by letting go of the stuff that doesn't, including letting go of the different ways you don't practice self-love. So if you want all of that, whatever that looks like for you, just say yes now. I'll ask for that to be done. Here we go. For some of you, there's the energies coming straight in through the third eye. Bunch of pink explosions in the old brain. That's cool. Pink for me is associated with compassion. Let's teach everybody how and what it feels like, and that it's okay to have compassion for yourself and then for others in a way that helps people, including yourself, the most. Here we go. If that's okay, say yes. And again, we'll probably done this in other videos. I'm sure I'll do it in future videos. Let's give you whatever it is you need, so you can genuinely forgive yourself for things that you think you've screwed up, no matter how bad you think it is, because you get to be the change for other people that you care about, that you would want to be able to forgive themselves for stuff that they think is horrible, but you realize isn't maybe as bad as they think it is, that it's not unforgivable. All right, here we go. Okay, cool. So think about joining me on April 12th for the magnetic heart activation. Send me a message and I'll send you the registration, the PayPal stuff and everything. And that's for April 12th, 2014. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And have a great week. Talk to you later. Peace.